This panel discussion is on new fulfillment strategies which leverage a seamless customer experience without spiraling costs and optimizing inventory. And now it's time for me to invite our moderator for this one on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ajay Rao, founder and CEO, Emiza Inc. Welcome, sir. Now let us all welcome our speakers and the panelists for this session. Let's welcome Mr. Aashutosh Taparia, Business Head, BigBasket. Mr. Sunil Shrivastava, Head Supply Chain, Hector Beverages Private Limited. Mr. Vishwesh J. Nair, Head Strategy, Operations and Supply Chain, the Belgian Waffle Company. Mr. Keyur Doshi, Head Logistics and Plant, HR, Vadilal Group. Mr. Durgesh Agarwal, VP Supply Chain and Operations, IDAM House of Brands. Mr. Vijay Nagariya, AVP Supply Chain, Drums Food International Private Limited. Mr. Puneet Kapoor, Head SCM and CRM, Luxottica, India. All right, as you can see, all our panelists and our moderator is here. I would like to give it over to our moderator now. Let's begin it, sir. Over to you, sir.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Pleasure to be here and pleasure to be amongst all of you. We'll probably just start with some quick introductions. So I am Ajay Rao. I am the founder and CEO of Emiza Supply Chain. We are a 3PL, primarily focusing on commerce enablement for consumer brands. We help them with their online, offline, and offline fulfillment completely from an end-to-end perspective. So we have with us a bunch of esteemed panelists, and we can just go down.
Yeah, so good afternoon all. I am Sunil Srivastava. I am heading forward supply chain in Hector Beverages. Hello. So I am heading supply chain of Hector Beverages. So Hector Beverages is the beverages company, is majorly traditional drink we are doing. And
yeah, hi everyone. Myself Aashutosh Taparia. I am the business head for BigBasket. So the company name is Innovative Retail Concepts Private Limited. I've been working with BigBasket close to 8 years now. We started the express delivery business of BigBasket from Mumbai, wherein we envisaged almost 8 years back that we'll deliver in 30 minutes. The model itself was too ahead of its time, and now I think people want everything in 10 minutes. So this is how the evolution has happened with the earlier days of 10 minutes to slotted to now back to quick commerce, and that's what I've been looking at for BigBasket.
Hi everyone, my name is Vishwesh Nair, and I head the strategy, operations and supply chain for the Belgian Waffle Co. As you all would know, Belgian Waffle Co. is the pioneer in the whole waffle as a category. We are the ones who brought about the whole waffle revolution to India. Today we have 450 stores, and I manage the entire operations and the supply chain for the brand.
Hello everyone, I am Keyur Doshi. I am looking after the supply chain for Vadilal since last 11 years. I have been worked with different industries just like Amul, Coke and Clarice. I have total 25 years of experience in the FMCG industry, and I am heading the SCM in Vadilal Group.
Hi everyone, I am Durgesh Agarwal. I am representing here from the House of Brands. I head the supply chain primarily for Bella Vita, which is a fragrance brand, Beverages, which is our instant coffee brand, and the GNC India business. Our prime motto of this fragrance brand is that everyone smells good in India.
Good afternoon everyone. I am Vijay Nagariya. I represent Drums Food International. I am AVP Supply Chain and take care of the end-to-end supply chain. Been more than 9 years with the company, long before the brand Epigamia was launched. I don't know how many of you know about it. We are India's first Greek yogurt brand. We are into all sorts of value-added dairy products, and we are available across 20,000 outlets across India. And we are a zero preservative, low shelf life product with zero preservative, all natural products we make.
Good afternoon everybody, my name is Puneet Kapoor and I am responsible for supply chain and CRM for Luxottica. We are one of the largest eyewear companies in the world with brands like Ray-Ban, Vogue, Oakley, and many others. Nice to be here today. Thank you.
Great. So we are fortunate today to have such an esteemed and varied bunch of panelists with us, right from quick commerce through to QSR, through to luxury products as well. And I think we should sort of make the best use of our 45 minutes to get as much insights as we can from our panelists. So I think the topic today is around new fulfillment strategies, right? And cost optimization and inventory optimization. So I think the heart of fulfillment is demand planning, right? You can't execute seamless fulfillment unless you've done your demand planning well and have the right product at the right place at the right time. In the last 5 to 7 years, right, there has been a tremendous shift in the way consumers interact with brands, in the way people purchase products, right? You've got the emergence of your e-commerce, you have the emergence of quick commerce, modern trade is growing in leaps and bounds, and they are slowly but surely eating away a significant share of the general trade. Considering the evolution in channels, right, the level of complexity goes up significantly. With every new channel, the level of complexity goes up. So I think let's talk a little bit about how demand planning is, how each of these different companies do their demand planning and cater to these nuances of the different channels. So maybe we would first want to start with Vishwesh, right? You run the supply chain for a QSR brand, which is one of my favorites. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how you approach demand planning in your company.
Sure. So primarily when it comes to demand planning, it's very volatile for us because, the consumer demands shift from one product to other. That could be primarily driven through something which we try to market. Okay. Sometimes what happens, a celebrity just picks up a product and starts talking about it, and that spikes up our demand. So for us, listening to the consumers becomes a very important part from a demand planning perspective, because at this moment we live in a day and age wherein in the morning a product X sells, and by the evening Y starts picking up. So having that effective understanding about the whole consumers, and today how do we do it? It is by leveraging social media. Okay. So earlier, primarily when we spoke about how supply chain has been evolving, 5 years back, none of the supply chain guys would say that they would get into marketing meetings to understand how your marketing strategies are working, how ROAS is happening for any ad kind of a thing. But today we have to get into that so that we understand how tomorrow we need to plan, because a certain product might have a demand in Mumbai but might not have similar kind of a demand in Bangalore, because regional superstars also matter a lot, because today we talk about so many different avenues in terms of the business, right? So for us, demand forecasting is just not about looking at the product itself, but also listening to the consumers from an overall social media perspective, and then planning one day at a time. Okay, while you could have a rolling forecast for the entire month, 3 months, but understanding the complexities and maneuvering the way through. So that's where the whole supply chain resilience comes into play, and your agility as an organization is tested.
So how do you actually plug that data in, right? Because they're all disparate systems. The biggest challenge today with demand planning is with multiple channels, they're all operating on different systems, right? How do you bring that data in, and how is that intelligently applied into your rolling forecast?
Correct. So what we primarily start to do is the whole use of IoT. Okay. So the IoT is something which is talked about a lot, but I don't know how much everyone is today leveraging that. Okay. So wherein you try to bring about, first simple thing would be the point of sale, because that has been historically the first point of data for any brand. Okay. So that is what we track first. Okay. And for advanced planning, we start tracking the entire online metrics, wherein it comes to Instagram, Facebook, and the performance of these ads. Then we've leveraged a tool in terms of an Excel form, okay, which helps us combine these data, because you could have n number of data, but not using it wisely is a policy. So effectively, then the human intervention comes in, who plugs in this data to plan and supply effectively to a certain specific store. Because today, while I run a store in Mumbai, which could be high on demand, but a store in Nagaland might not have similar kind of demand. And you do not want, because we also operate on a franchisee model. So, you know, you do not want your franchisees not making money or having, you know, dead stock. So that's what we effectively try to manage. And if we start seeing that maybe we forecasted something, sent a certain bit of stocks, but it's not moving, then how do you track back so that you effectively use the same stock and it doesn't expire and become a problem for the company?
Right.
So that's the end-to-end tool which we've internally built.
Great. Ashutosh, at BigBasket, I mean, for you, you have an assortment challenge, right? You've got to make sure you have everything that a consumer wants, right? That's not available even at a Kirana store. So what are some of your challenges around demand forecasting, and how do you sort of manage it across your different formats?
So for me, it's not just about having a strategy or a plan or a business model, because the product categories differ, right? So palak of 12-hour shelf life to a pyaz to 7-hour shelf life to a perk, maybe 6 months shelf life, to a plastic bottle which as per the environment lasts for 10,000 years. I have different shelf life and expiry products, right? I can't consider all of them together in the same way. At the same time, while palak, for example, I'll forecast it today, procure it today and send it to the customers by tomorrow morning, the actual planning of harvest starts 2 to 3 months in advance. So we procure almost 80% of whatever we sell directly from farmers. So we literally have our agronomists who go to the farmlands at the sowing stage, help them with the right seed, soil, weather combination to get the produce that we want. So the way we look at it is, we have divided the categories that we have into different business models, wherein the planning for a perishables happens separately. Perishable, we treat anything less than 4 days of shelf life as a perishable product. That forecasting model is completely run by system and 100% vetted by a human being every day. So the system will throw a number every day, a human will vet it by location for the product every day. Then the next category is the FMCG planning, which happens again in two various. One is the seasonal product, which is, for example, if I ask my system, basis the last 3-month forecast, tell me what will be the sale of for the next 3 months, it will sell me buy a lot of umbrellas. Last 3 months umbrellas have sold, next 3 months also umbrella will sell, and don't buy any cold cream, because last 3 months people have not used a cold cream, right? So this sort of error is where it comes into the picture. So we look at the perishables separately. Within the non-perishables, the edible items and the regular items have what we call the trend line forecast, which is only checked by humans. Then lastly, the season will only give us a last year forecast. The entire trend and planning is done by humans. And lastly, for plastic, we only rely on the system. So from a palak, which is person plus the product, to a plastic, which is only product, it's a broad range of spectrum which helps us. And the fine tuning that which we have done is actually not just on the algorithm, but also to put the right product in the right place, that where will product and person both come in, and where only a product will come in, that sort of thing.
So typically, do you also track your accuracy in terms of whatever you do? What's the frequency in which you track it, and what's the metric, right? And what's the aspiration, 90%, 95%, what's the aspiration there?
So the aspiration, obviously the accuracy needs to be as high as possible, but the accuracy metric itself varies from product to product. So a palak, a 90% accuracy means you'll throw away 10%.
Right.
For a plastic bottle, a 90% means nothing, because tomorrow you will again sell it. So this metric, we track it more from accuracy only for perishables and write-off for other articles, right? So perishable day-to-day accuracy is important, and also to have backup and fail-safe systems in terms of, can our system then help drive a forecast? For example, milk. I think no one would want to buy a milk which is not of a labeled today, right? So maybe after 7 p.m., I try to sell off whatever is left to me by having a dynamic discounting model. So a customer might come in, get a milk at maybe a 10 rupees off and buy it right now, but the risk is if you wait for that discounting, the milk might get over. So that sort of using the product is more important for us for perishable. For others, we work on a 98% forecasting accuracy.
But does the inaccuracy then factor its way back into the pricing in some way?
For fruits and vegetables, yes. So for example, a fruits and vegetable, everyone will tell you has a huge margin, right? So we also have a margin of close to 40-50% in fruits and vegetable. But the realization is only 25%. So people feel that, you know, we make a lot of money selling fruits and vegetables, and which is the entire value. But a packaged product also has a 20-25% margin. So if we factor in all the risk and all the supply chain and all the infra that we have set up, it is all a risk adjusted return.
Got it. Durgesh, in the case of you're running a house of brands, multiple different categories, right? From coffee to GNC to consumer products, right? Yeah, fragrances. What are some of the challenges you face, and how are you handling the multi-channel demand forecasting?
Yeah, thank you, Ajay. So still, whenever a planning comes into my mind, then I still remember those days of 10 years back when the demand was being driven by the sales force. But now the complete dynamics has been changed. Being a product is getting sold at an omni-channel level, category is different. So we have given a leverage to the entire ecosystem in such a way that the demand is not freezed even for the week. We are calculating a DRR at a SKU level, at a channel level on a daily basis so that we can foresee the problem which is going to be arrived at the 10th day or 15th day. Obviously we are going to maintain some set of a safety stock at a AVC classification level that is helping us to manage the demand. Also that when we are calculating a demand, we are taking the help of the social media team, as it was being highlighted earlier as well. We are trying to manage the campaign which is going to be run at the entire digital ecosystem. What is the ROAS is going to be generated, whether the ROAS will be the 3 to 10, whatever. So these things are helping us to calculate the demand at a SKU level. Also that we have seen in the past that there was a campaign of one particular SKU which was not gone well, and another month the same campaign has gone to a tremendous manner. But as I said that we are maintaining a safety as well as we have leveraged our supplier, our packaging supplier, our raw material supplier in such a way so that any spike can be managed quickly. Because we are selling our product at an omni-channel, we may not know that the demand will come from our D2C ecosystem, from our marketplace, from our EBO, GT and MT. So we are managing in such a way that, if I share the exact number at a channel level, that we at a total unit level, we are somewhere at 96 to 104% of accuracy in terms of the forecast. Also that if I see that at a ABC classification level, A category is generating close to 70% of the revenue in my business. And I am giving a leverage of 20% plus minus to each channel. We are still managing at 80% or 90% accuracy in the A category itself.
We've got now 3 people here who actually run sort of products which are highly perishable or have a lower shelf life. One is your Epigamia, which has got a very, very low shelf life. Vadilal again, which has a little longer shelf life, and then Raw Pressery or Hector Beverages, which has got an even longer. So what are some of the challenges specific to your category, right? And maybe talk a little bit about the channels. I think, and you'll also do a fair amount of exports where there's a different ball game altogether. So if you can shine a little bit of light from your own lens, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you, Ajay. We are currently doing the demand planning on basis of the S4HANA report, but it will be accurate on 90% basis. In past and current also, there are always challenge about which category will run more growth and which category will grow, we don't know. Just because of currently I am giving the example of the current trend, we have a growth of more than 75% in novelty category, in cake category. How can we expect growth? I don't know. How consumer behave, we don't know. That's why we are preferring more than 90% accuracy in top 30 or top 40 variety. Otherwise, we have to depend on the consumer trend or consumer behavior. And we have to see the daily data and daily planning, and accordingly we have to plan the produce and sell into market. That is the bigger challenge in the domestic market. The other challenge is the earlier said by one of the speaker. If you have a run through the media, then you can guess your product will be grow by more than 35% or 40%. Somehow it will be run by 20% or 15%. Somehow it will be run by more than 70% also. So it is a bigger challenge for us just because of the consumer perception change every time to time. So we are going to come and implement the digital software in coming days. We have already taken the demo, and we are taking data from the secondary logistic and second leg also. So we can compare with the secondary and primary and doing comparison analysis with the past trend, and then we will analyze and then we will produce the same. That is our strategy of the ice cream.
Yeah, also Ajay, I would like to add on here on the demand planning part. As I said, that lot of things depend upon the digital campaign. The other things are which maybe the category specific, is a seasonal impact. Also NPD plays a very crucial role. Whenever a product is getting launched, then within the first 3 months, it changes the SKU mix. And apart from that, as the festival season is approaching, then we will have a lot of sales on the entire marketplace. Then followed by the footfall crowd in the mall and the EBO and so on. So these pricing and the ASP which you are selling at a platform level, which will also change your entire unit economics. So these things matters a lot.
Vijay from...
Yeah. So what we follow at our level is a hybrid model. So what we do is a ground up manual forecast that is coming in from the sales team, and digitally to the historical data and the algorithm from the system, there is a forecast that is thrown from the system. So both are these compared and a consensus built around it. And then basis what is the outlook that looking like the current trend in the market, offtakes, the tertiary offtakes, what are there. Basis that, then we have a convergence and then we finalize the plan. And for this to happen, we also take help of SAP. From the demand planning perspective, it is there, the software is there, but we also have automated the Salesforce, where we have visibility of what is the inventory at the trade level, at a general trade level, at a modern trade level, or an e-commerce outlet or a dark store. We gather inventory information from all these channels at this last point of sale things, and basis that the system will suggest a suggested order, it puts up a suggested order, which is then converted into a rough demand plan, and what is the growth that we are seeking, what is the push that we want to do in the current month or the current week.
Right.
Basis that all things are converged and a consensus built, and that is how we plan for it. For us, the planning cycle is on a weekly basis. We don't plan for more than a week.
And what is your lead time for fulfillment on average?
So lead time also is roughly around 7 days, 5 to 7 days.
And the shelf life you said is about what?
Average shelf life is 18 days.
18 days, right?
Yes, and we do ship across Pan India from one location.
Right.
So all our manufacturing also is very distributed. Like one product gets manufactured in one part of India, another product gets manufactured in another part of India, but I still have to make it reach Pan India. And so the lead times also we have under control. Like we have maximum lead time of 72 hours from last point to the first point.
No, one interesting thing is, see, whenever there's in a supply chain, if there's something which is remaining behind, that's visible. You can see that X amount of product is expired or we've got an overstock. But are you able to also track what is the demand you've lost in the market, right? Because that's a very, very critical aspect of the whole demand planning, right? Because that's not visible, right? Orders have come, the guy went to a shop, wanted an epigamia ice cream, it wasn't there. Right? That doesn't show up in any of your databases. So how do you track that? Do you have any surrogates for that?
So last mile, obviously tertiary sale we don't have, but at the store level or at the secondary fulfillment level, we do track it.
Right.
So when the orders come in and what does the fulfillment happen, we track the fill rate for the retailers. So that gives you a fair amount of a chance being 4-5% sale loss basis the number of days it is stocked out. Like when we have replenished, last when the store was stocked out, and when is the next replenishment that has been done to that store. So basis that we run the numbers, and then that throws a fair idea of what is the opportunity loss that is there. And so far, those situations have been few and far in between. And our forecast accuracy, we have taken it around 85% as of now. With all this intervention, then as you know, we do intervention twice a week. Like even the plan being 7 days, but we do intervention within 3 days. At a level, we may not be able to change at the manufacturing end, but we do reallocation within the regions. Like if this region has more inventory available, we can divert that inventory to another region. So that kind of dynamic interventions we keep on doing throughout the week.
Sailesh, what is your biggest challenge?
Just wanted to add to that point though, that we are very lucky as a company that we have a very rich data. So I get to know which product, what time of the hour is out of stock, and we have enough analytics to tell us. The biggest problem is we have data and we have people to tell us. So any miss cannot get hidden. We get to know. So for example, a product is out of stock at 9 o'clock in the night. It's not the same as it's out of stock at 1 o'clock. Because 9 o'clock, ice cream demand, for example, go up for quick commerce and all. So we literally look at the missed sales numbers at an hourly level to find out the opportunity cost of lost sales. A bigger problem that I've seen, I just wanted to add that we have multiple lines of businesses, including slotted and quick commerce. In quick commerce, it's a weird balance between If I have a product at 10 o'clock at night, maybe a palak, and it doesn't sell, it's a completely wasted product. I have to throw it away. No one will like a wilted palak next day. At the same time, if I don't keep it, evening is when the housewives or maybe the house husbands would be planning for the next day, the tiffin for the kids and so on. So that balance for us is very, very important. We in fact have a very lenient TAT for each of the products. So for example, ideally I want my out of stock to start happening from 7 o'clock and by 10 I would love it to be very high out of stock. So the perishable product we reach as low levels as 50%, 40% when we close the shop in the day.
So you're okay with the high out of stock at the end of the day?
Yeah, we want that because again, the plan is that early morning when you get up and before you start cooking, you can again order and you'll get a fresh produce. So that's the whole balance behind it.
Thanks, Arun. So, our beverage industry is a very seasonal industry, and we are innovative company. And
Sorry, your voice is not audible.
So every year, So every year we are launching new products. So demand planning is a very major role because some category is hit by 150% growth and some category is not doing well. So there is a lot of FG, wastage, carrying cost, RMPM cost. So this will all carry. So demand is plays a pivot role here. So I would say that as some my colleagues said, earlier demand was the sales-driven process, but now is the consumer-driven process. Okay. Now supply chain responsibility will shift to generate the demand. So not supply chain responsibility is not up to the meeting the demand, but anticipate the demand in future. So this is the supply chain responsibility. And for in season, last 2 months we are following with the secondary waste demand. So earlier we are following with primary, but we shifted stock from our plant to distributor waste. So distributor is also our inventory. Till the time it will not consume by retailer or consume by sales. So we shifted from primary to secondary. So our forecast will increase by 20% that time. And as of now, we have artificial intelligence, machine learning. There are a lot of tools is available. If we'll use this data very just like my colleague said, ki every 7 days, 10 days, the time is gone. Ki we can fix for 3-month forecast. So as of now, we cannot fix 3-month forecast. We have to agile as much as possible in the supply chain. And one point I added, I would to add that fulfillment is also very, because we are, customer is like after e-commerce, we are doing the delivery 10 minutes, 15 minutes or half an hour. But as our beverage industry, we are doing the delivery after 48 hours or 96 hours. So track and trace is required. So we have, last month we have added one software which will give the from intent to customer delivery. And so whatever our customer is taking track and trace the when it will get the delivery.
Puneet, in your specific case, right, you're into the accessories category, right? So the number of SKUs will be significant. It will be in thousands, right? Second is you've got all of them as very high value products. They're all 10,000, 15,000. So how big a problem is inventory obsolescence for you, and how do you sort of do your demand planning for this specific category? And you're probably importing a lot of it, right? So, yeah. So maybe just talk a little bit about the dynamics of that.
Sure. See, before I speak about specifics, I would probably say that demand planning as a whole, the process is very, very important, of course, agreed. And couple of, let's say, elements of demand planning, how well you are able to sense the demand. I think that becomes very, very important. So whether it is social media, even let's say a salesperson visiting a store or anything. So this robustness, if it is imparted to the process, planning becomes more robust. Then second bit, collaboration. So the collaboration not only between, let's say, a business and supply chain and planning teams, but collaboration between even organizations is very, very important. So for example, I have a customer and he does not want a particular product, but I have forecasted and produced that product. Can I actually convince the customer to probably take that product? or can I understand from the customer better that what is it that the customer wants? I think that is something very, very fundamental. And then I think any planning process is prone to errors. So what are we supposed to do when there is an error? Are we supposed to, let's say, maybe sell at a discount, which maybe some organizations allow, some do not?
Right.
Are we supposed to, let's say, if there is a stock out, do what? I mean, are we able to easily make that product and ship it across? See, supply chains are getting more and more global these days. So it's no longer a product which is maybe produced in the US is probably consumed in India. Similarly, a product produced in India is consumed anywhere else in the world. So how fast are we able to manage that situation? So this becomes fundamentally important. Yes, you rightly said we have, I mean, multiples of thousands of SKUs, and we have those SKUs getting refreshed a couple of times a year. So I think these are the three fundamental things which we really focus on to see how we can actually manage the demand better. If I would not say we are doing a fantastic job, but yes, we are doing a reasonably good job to see, and each, let's say, demand missed or overstocked, we see it as an opportunity to learn and do better the next time. I think this is what is a fundamental thing for us.
Great. So I think now moving forward from demand planning, getting into the actual fulfillment part of the equation, right? So I think, I think when we caught up a little bit earlier, there were a few interesting stories or a few interesting case studies I got from the panelists. So I would like to talk a little bit about the Belgian waffle, right? So your product is all made fresh, right? So, and I understand you all only have one central kitchen currently, right? So, and you all are across the country. So how have you sort of built your supply chain for this particular category?
Sure, a very interesting one. And primarily when we started the brand and when I joined also, so that time the whole idea was we should expand to every nook and corner, because if you see any QSR brands primarily, they are constricted to a certain set of geography, like let's say they will have hub in Mumbai and just supply it across. So today we are present in more than 120 cities in India and also in Nepal. So the whole idea and what we did was primarily we understood what our key strengths were from a supply chain angle. And then we reverse engineered our new product development team to only develop products which would be ambient in nature and can be made freshly in store, because we wanted to keep the freshness intact, keep the shelf life high, and also ensure our franchisee partners make a lot of money and there's no wastage. So to primarily give an example, when I talk about, so marketing research told us that brownie was a next big thing in terms of the whole dessert, and we wanted to leverage that. So when it came to a waffle as a segment. So, but when I was looking for brownies as an option to introduce that in part of the menu, everything had, let's say, a 14-day shelf life, something which was much harder, not that great, would also still have a 21-day shelf life. But I wanted something higher on shelf life. So that's when we spoke with the whole new product development team and said that let's have a flavoring kind of a thing which blends with our waffle and then make it ambient, so that the entire product reaches the store. They have to just cut open the pack and make it there freshly so that they can control the wastages. So while thinking about that, second problem came in, how would they actually manage it? Because, and that's when we came across as the pack size of 1 kg, so that, you know what kind of quantity.
Right.
The moment you start mixing it, you know how much you can sell of that, and you can do a demand forecasting and make restricted quantity at a point and then eventually look to actually multiply if your demands are higher. So reverse engineering helps us overall to supply to all of these locations, okay, may it be a company owned store or a franchisee store, maintaining high levels of freshness made for the stock at the store and also reducing the wastages. So that's what we primarily have done, and that's what is helping us. So the more supply chain gets evolved today in India, we'll try to also add more and more products and maybe maneuver our way through. But today, the point of success for us and the expansion has been NPD catering to the supply chain, not vice versa in a lot of other
You've
companies.
really reversed it, right?
Yes.
So rather than designing your supply chain
Yes.
For the product, you've designed the product for the supply chain.
Yes, that's
Very
right.
interesting. Moving to, I think, on the cold chain side, right? Because that again is a critical element of the overall fulfillment and the last mile. In terms of Keyur, can you talk a little bit about how you all are managing? Because finally, it's all about ice creams, and the experience
Yes,
is very, very critical, right? How are you managing your cost and your product stability and at the last mile? Yeah.
We have basically 3 plants across the India and more than 85 CNF and more than 1,000 distributors. We are doing plant to CNF, carrying forward agent, and then CNF to distributor. So we were a huge difficulty in 2013 when we started the GPS system, and we were not maintaining the temperature as per the standard. If you are not maintaining the standard as per the temperature, the customer will not get the ice cream as per his requirement or as per his taste, original taste. So we had introduced the GPS system and highly automated system for the particular the truck. We have almost more than 450 trucks across the India. So we can immediately tell the what is the temperature, what is the compressor running time, what is the minimum temperature and what is the maximum temperature, every 3 minutes temperature, and what is the temperature graph, and we can see everything. Still we have a bigger challenge. We are very good in the terms of the primary, but still we have a bigger challenge in terms of the secondary. So we had introduced the concept of the eutectic technology. You can say the PCM change, phase changer materials. So we are using currently that type of vehicle for the local delivery. So the vehicle is almost charged by 8 to 10 hours in the night. The vehicle is getting minus 40 temperature in a night, and then we will deliver the stock 3 delivery at a time in a day. Then you will get minus 18 temperature throughout the day. So that is the bigger challenge. Still we have a problem in secondary, and we are continuously doing and monitoring for the same and doing the better and better.
So you're saying with these eutectic vehicles, you don't need, so they don't run on diesel, right? They run
Yes,
on
yes.
electricity. You charge them
Yes,
for
yes.
the
So
night.
you don't want to depend on the driver.
You don't depend
That
on
is
the driver.
also bigger benefit to the
Right.
company. Because if you want to depend on the driver, that is the bigger challenge in the terms of the logistics supply chain.
So the experience, fulfillment experience is better, but how does it stack up on cost versus a similar diesel operation?
It's almost capital cost is almost same, but I think I am saying it is 5 to 10% saving in terms of the eutectic, because we have no diesel cost in terms of the in transit.
Got it.
So you will get 5 or to 10% saving.
Got it. Excellent. So I think on the fulfillment side, I think we will be amiss if we don't talk about the concept of quick commerce and dark stores, right? So we've got a few minutes left, and I think we should talk about that because that is the sort of the topic that is in vogue right now. So I think I read an article recently where I think for Zepto, the unit economics were fairly well laid out, right? And at Zepto, even at its scale, is able to do their delivery cost is about 62 rupees per order, which includes the last mile cost as well as the warehousing cost. So at a contribution margin 1 level, they're making approximately 15% GM, which is on an average order value of 460 bucks, right? So even at a CM1 level, they're profitable, but the moment they go to CM2, the economics fall apart. They lose money there, right? So the question now is, dark stores and this model of quick commerce is here to stay. How do we make this more sustainable, right? What is it? What are some of the levers that are available to players to sort of make this model more sustainable so that consumers can continue to benefit and enjoy from this in the long run, right? So this is open to anybody else.
If I can just
Yeah.
add, because we are a part of the current growth story of quick commerce also, but our main forte lies in grocery.
Right.
So if you see the way most of the players are lined up is that they have picked a lane. So you will have an Amazon and a Flipkart who are saying that we will not participate in this quick commerce growth story. So my definition of quick commerce, by the way, will be less than 30 minutes. So it will cover your 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Right.
and so on, right? So less than 30 minutes, I'm calling it quick commerce, anything later. Because if you see, the slotted is also becoming quicker and quicker. So Amazon, which used to deliver in next 2 days to next day to currently they deliver in 2-hour slots. In some cities, they deliver within the next 2 hours and so on, right? But anything more than 30 minutes, I'm calling it quick commerce. I heard some things about, the processes, the system, the planning, the IoT, the AI. I think artificial intelligence can never match human stupidity. right? That is unparalleled. It's unparalleled right now. So what we have to do is we have to plan our processes so that how can it account for the human stupidity angle. We felt that quick commerce can never make money at a EBITDA level, right? So you talk about CM1, there's CM2, CM3, there are still more costs which are not accounted. And if you account the back-end cost from server to, because running an e-commerce also has an infrastructure cost, I personally think it is going to be increasingly difficult to make money at the current margin stack that they have and also the cost stack. So we are in a unique position at the BigBasket. So we have a BB Now offering, which is the quick commerce offering, which we charge a smaller premium compared to our full service. We are still matched competitively with, say, an Instamart or a Zepto. And we also have our own backend. So the trick here, according to me, lies in leveraging that backend, right? Sometimes picking twice is actually cheaper than picking once. So my master warehouses in the city are 1 lakh, 2 lakh square feet warehouses. They hold all the materials. I used to have the same warehouse. I have to pick for a delivery which will happen in 10 minutes at the last mile, a delivery which will happen in 6 hours, and also something which we call milk subscription, right? So these are ABB1 product, right? So typically a guy will order only one bread, a few packets of milk, a few eggs, right? So all these managing from a 1 lakh square feet warehouse in an efficient manner is not possible. So we pick in our warehouses the categories which are very, very high volume, your Ashirwad Attas, your oils of the world, right? We pick them in pallet loads and full bulk. Then we pick the smaller range, which we call the type 2, which are the next 600 SKUs, right? So the top 200 SKUs give us 40% sales. The next 600 SKUs give us the next 40% sales. And the remaining entire till gives us only 20%, right? Close to the 80-20 principle. The next two we pick in inners and outers and the cases. And then we send to the dark stores, which is close to the end customer, right? So for a quick commerce, it cannot be farther than 2 kilometers of aerial distance, right? So from there you have to send the customer. For example, milk, we run in the warehouse, we bring the packs together for Ashirwad Atta in one row, your oil in one row, and then we pick by customer, by route, by hub, by drop point, and how we're able to deliver. So the beauty of this fulfillment lies in making the system very agile, trying to standardize the back end and the agility in the front end, because that is where the customer matters. So in a way, I would just like to draw a parallel in what the Belgian Waffle Co did, right? That the last mile is still fresh, prepared in-house in front of the customer eyes. And the entire innovation in the back end is completely not just automated, completely ambient, and there is when you do the lead time. So the back end needs to be strengthened and the front end needs to be agile. So that balance is where the beauty lies.
But the cost that we sort of talked about, like $60 or $62, can that shift or does something else need to shift to make this sustainable?
So I personally feel that the margin stacks needs to shift. So a typical margin in a grocery business will be 20% max, right? For a retailer, it's 10-15%, but in a modern trade, if I see, it's close to 20-22%. That margin needs to go up. By going up, what does it mean? So now Swiggy charges a packaging fee, handling fee, delivery fee, rain fee, convenience fee, and all these things, right? They need to come in. They are all part of the margin stack. Customers eventually need to pay for the convenience, or else it will be no more fridge.
Correct. Got it.
To add on this, that I don't know how many has been noticed on the Zomato, it has been started to charge the platform fees by 2 rupees, 3 rupees or whatever.
Correct.
But yes, as the path is difficult for the dark store, but still I believe that there is a delta which can be come as to manage this 62 rupees. So to overcome this, that I believe that is the collaboration with the 3PL or with the 4PL is the key to success. That I believe that for a new age brand which are at a very early stage of life, they may start their operation by starting some short of a small space in terms of the warehousing, but the moment volume goes up, they will not be able to manage that spike. So that if you will have a collaboration with the 3PL or 4PL, that the brand can easily manage the spike. Also when we are talking about the online business, the digital business, a very important part of the business is the RTO, the return management.
Right.
If you are operating from a one location, because your forte is not the logistic, your forte is not the operation, your forte is the business, your product. And a company who is running their 3PL or 4PL operation is their forte. So to operate from one location and to deliver it to the entire geography of India will be a difficult in terms of the TAT, in terms of, so that the customer refusal will be high. So what as of now is the game of the change to place your inventory to the near to the consumer in terms of the dark store, in terms of the larger shared FCs. And apart from this, in term, when we talk about the last mile, there were days when the brands were collaborating with the 3PL directly. Now the game has changed. It is coming to the 4PL, where one particular transporter or a courier may not be perfect well round the year. There will be some ups and downs because of their internal issue, because of their capacity issue, or the external issues. So that a 4PL is helping to the brand to shift their load from one courier partner to the other, so that the refusal will not be high. Also, when we are saying about the RTO intelligence or the fulfillment near to the geography, then here the data integration plays a very crucial role, because I have seen that few pin codes will be limited to the Bihar or maybe the the UP or whatever state. There will be a refusal into the system. So what brand is doing a hardcore cash on delivery blockage on those particular pin codes, so that your return, because ultimately return whatever comes in, it kills your CAC, because you have invested a lot to acquire that consumer.
Correct. Got it.
So I have a different take on this. This is more about last mile fulfillment, the online thing. I'll talk more on the offline business part of it.
Right.
Because ultimately that's the chunk of the business. Still in India, e-commerce is not that big on fresh and groceries. So my view is different. Like, we were one of the first few companies in India to operate the entire supply chain in-house.
Right.
Nothing is outsourced at Drums. We operate the entire supply chain in-house. Yeah, the infrastructure is leased, but it is operated in-house. So we also are at constant pressure, to bring down the logistics cost, the total cost of service. And when at one point we went out and benchmarked against the industry players, like the best 3PL, 4PL players, we got them to see our operations and then submit a quote if they were to run that operation. And it was a surprise to all of us also. Like the difference in the cost structures was not more than 2%. Was it what I was spending doing it in-house, was it that third party whose expertise was warehousing and logistics. When they were running the show and they had a pan-India presence, they had all the resources, assets in place, even then the cost difference was just 2%, which made us sit up and see. And it deserved a pat on our backs. Like, we were there benchmarking against the best in the business, even though warehousing logistics is not our forte, but this is a network that we have built ground up. Like, we were the first in 2015 when we started off, when the brand grew big. We also traditional modern trade-led business. Like, we had distributors in the system who used to deliver to the retailers and then to the consumers. But within 1 year, we realized that this is not going to take us, because shelf life was an issue with us, temperature compliance, product integrity was another issue, which the distributors were not very keen on maintaining that, because obviously for the economic reasons. So we got into the distribution ourselves and we built a last mile distribution right from scratch. And we used to cover till last year 20,000 stores directly across 7-8 cities in India. So our experience was this, like, you also can do it at the same level as a 3PL or 4PL partner, but for that you need to have the right people in place, the right processes in place, and then the right thought processes in place. So it's not like that it's a forte of a 3PL or 4PL. It's all there in the domain. Like, you can look and learn.
So
but yes, on the first mile, yes, collaboration is very much required on the long haul, the primary part of it, from movement from one end of India to the other end. That's required. That's where service providers can help. There's a lot to be done on that front, where, as you know, cold chain, the part truckload logistics is really non-existent in India as of now.
Yes.
If you go out and seek for players who
Correct.
can do a smaller load, 500 kg, 1 kg from 1000 kg from one city to another, it is non-existent. So that is a challenge we have also had to grapple up, and we had a very unique way of taking this around, because our loads were different. we collaborated with our peers. Like when we started off our intercity logistics, Raw Pressery and us, we together got the trucks, we delivered our material from one city to another city. That's how we collaborated and, brought about, keep the cost in control. So, but yeah, this is out to all the industry players in the cold chain business. We definitely, if this is to be taken to the next level, we need to have service providers who are willing to do an innovation and take that risk. And that could help us in the long run.
So I think on the 3PL front, I think there are different perspectives, right? So I think point is that, see, it also depends on scale, right? Number one. Yes. Number two is, second is also is the convenience, right? So today the differential may be 2%, right? But the 3PL also has to make some margin. So let's say if he's making a 10% margin.
Also that the role of 3PL is important to manage the spike, because I have seen a growth story where the month-on-month growth was close to the 50% or 40%.
And third thing is also in terms of investment, right? Otherwise, as a brand, if you every time you want to expand, you'll have to keep investing in people, investing in so. Beyond which there will be a drop off in your marginal utility, right? So
also, let's not forget that no man is an island, right?
Exactly.
So while we are saying that 3PL it's not like any company can own all the vans, employ all the drivers. So at some level, it's about which level 3PL are you using? A full stack 3PL or just a driver aggregator? But some amount of help will always require, and it's all about managing and balancing these tools that we have at our disposal.
So I think we've just got a minute left, so we can take maybe one question from the audience, maybe.
Hello, am I audible? Hi, this is Aman from Mondelez. So we talked a lot about demand forecasting, and probably maybe a disruptive question I want to ask. Maybe for companies like Unilevers or P&Gs of the world who have 1 to 2 years of shelf life, their products are relatively stable. Can we move away from demand forecasting? We know forecastings are always, can we, or where are we when we can move away from demand forecasting given the store has sold their material and we run everything from the back end and deliver it accordingly?
I've not understood the question.
No, so the question is, can for products which have got longer shelf life, how do we still need to do demand forecasting? Can we move away from it, or is there an alternative to it?
I would like to add on a point here. See, I am dealing in a category where the shelf life is 2 to 3 years even. But I must say that there's a very important role of the working capital into the demand forecasting. We cannot block our hardcore cash. See, inventory is not the inventory; it is a hardcore cash which is lying in the form of inventory into the warehouse. So if we will overstock it, then the entire, your working capital is going to be blocked into the system, which can be used into the other part of the business. As apart from this, as I have explained about the NPD, which is the enabler of the success of the D2C brand, NPDs is keep launching into the business. If we will not do the forecast, then the overstocking of NPD will be in such a huge amount that it definitely the product is having a 2 year, 3 year, whatever the shelf life, it will be expired.
So I think in summary, you can't get away from demand planning.
Yes. Can I give a 15-second disruptive answer? Living has 100% correlation with dying. So if you want to stop death, stop living. It's a very, very vague answer. So I don't think we can move away from demand planning. Right? How we do it, that's the question.
Absolutely. Great. So I think we're out of time. So great. Thank you everybody.
So everybody, I would want you all to give a big round of applause for all our panelists and our moderator, of course. This was indeed a great session, a fantastic session indeed, because all our panelists and our moderator, you just came out with all the thoughts about the topic wholeheartedly. So thank you very much once again. And now I'd like to request, sir, you to kindly present the token of thanks to all our panelists. Please. I request one by one all our panelists to come forward and receive it. Can we do it in the center stage, please?
Please come.
Yeah. For a good picture.
Thank you. Please come.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ashutosh. As always, yes. Thanks, Vishwesh.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Keyur ji. Thank you. Thanks, Suresh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. A pleasure, Ajay. Great. Puneet, thank you.
Piyush sir, Puneet sir, I request you to kindly present the token of thanks to Ajay sir.
Great. Thank you, Puneet. Thank you.
With this, we're done with this panel discussion. I request everybody to come forward for a group photo.
Great. Come.
And ladies and gentlemen, before I announce the lunch break, I would like to tell you all that yes, after the lunch break, we're going to be announcing the name of lucky draw winners. We'll be having a fishbowl here and we'll be picking up the cards. Let's see who gets lucky. And as I said earlier, few of you might win the iPads, the gold coins, the silver coins. So